Watch another video on the Inside Spurs channel. Happy Thursday. Well, you'll see this late afternoon, early evening. I hope the day has treated you well. You've looked after yourself. You've made the most of it. Obviously, there was some pretty horrific weather last night with the lightning and thunder and all that jazz. So as you can tell, by the way, I am actually recording this on Thursday instead of the previous video released earlier that I recorded last night. And yeah, I have released a video earlier, by the way. It includes a list of 6 players that Spurs have interest in for the summer transfer window, as well as a bit of an update on plans for their summer transfer window, depending on when they or how they finish the season. So go back and have a little watch that if you have missed that. I thought it was quite interesting to talk about some of those players. Couple of players that I've not actually talked about in a little while. So we'll talk about that there. In this video, though, we're talking of Tosin and Adarabioyo. We're talking Lloyd Kelly and talking Amadou Onana. So talking 3 players, all Prem proven. And just giving you a bit of an update to the situation. Obviously, 2 of them being free players in the summer, as well as obviously, I know Onana's obviously going to cost quite a bit of money. So we'll talk about that as well. Yeah, I just want to say that if you're new, give us a subscribe. You're very much welcome to join us for the journey. And let's jump in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with Graham Bailey first. And it came from Graham Bailey plus Brogan Clasper. Great name. It says that Tottenham remain the more likely landing spot for Tosin Adarabioyo this summer. Newcastle just one of clubs interested, but player is ready to compete with Romero and Van der Ven and Dragusin. Let's not take Radu out of this, okay? He's a scary guy. He looks scary. He'd eat me probably. I kind of thought, if I thought about Lloyd Kelly and I thought about Tosin Adarabioyo, I actually thought, for some reason, Tosin would go to Newcastle and Lloyd would come to us. This is a little while ago I was thinking that. And then I kind of thought about it today and I thought, well, Tosin only has to move across city, right? He's at Fulham, he's in London. He only has to move across city to Spurs. Lloyd Kelly has links with Newcastle through Bournemouth and Eddie Howe and all that sort of setup they have from the Bournemouth days under Eddie. So actually it makes more sense that even though, yes, he's probably travelling quite far, it makes a ton of sense that he's going to be linking up with them. Sorry, you saw me looking down. I just saw that Conte was trending on, Antonio Conte, by the way, and trending on Twitter, and that's because apparently he's offered himself up to the Chelsea job. Good Lord. But yeah, I want to add a little bit more to this with Keith Downey. Keith Downey, Sky Sports news reporter for the North East. And he was talking about it. He said that Newcastle were interested in defenders Lloyd Kelly and Tosin Adarabioyo. Both players are out of contract in the summer, but have other clubs interested. Tosin has 2 other Premier League clubs keen in him, while Kelly has Premier League clubs Monaco and Juventus interested in signing him. I would probably say that might be the other way around, if I'm honest. I think Tosin has probably more interest from Monaco due to the links before, and obviously we know he's have interest from Milan, which it goes on to say AC Milan have also registered interest in both players. Representatives of both players have already held talks with the European clubs. Kelly is currently more likely than Tosin as far as a move to Newcastle is concerned. Both players keeping options open, but things expected to advance once the season ends. Well, obviously, we've only got a few games left. Most teams have either got 3 games left or 4 games left, so we're nearly there. I do actually see Lloyd Kelly going to Newcastle, and I see Tosin going to Spurs. You know, you just sort of imagine players in a kit. It just, like Tosin, obviously, playing in, obviously, white. The majority of his top at Fulham is a white top. I know he's got the black sleeves and black shorts. And, well, Lloyd Kelly already plays in a striped jersey with one of the stripes, I say one of the 2 colours being black. So you kind of actually see it. It kind of just fits weirdly. Look, I was happy with either. I would be happy with either. If it turns out it's Tosin, it turns out it's Lloyd, I don't mind. I just hope they're done really quickly. So the season's finished, they're done, and you can just forget about centre-back now for the rest of the summer. Other than the ones you're going to look to sell, like a Tanganga or a Rodon. But like in terms of incomings, you can just forget about that position for the next couple of years, you know, because you're kind of like, well, it's done. I've got 4. We've got Dorrington and Phillips and Vuskovic is going to come through. So I'm done. I'm happy with that. Thank you very much. That's what I hope, at least. I want to talk about Amadou Onana, and it came from Ekrem Kanor, who said that it's exclusive. Arsenal and Tottenham are among suitors for potential £45 million transfer. Now, look, I'm going to be honest, it's not going to be 45 million. If there's a 5 at the end, it'll probably be like 55. I think somewhere between 50 and 60 is what the Onana deal is going to cost. And I know a few of you in the recent video that I talked about, because, by the way, Onana was actually on the previous video, and he is a summer transfer target. Not to say that we would go for him or not. He's just someone that Spurs have an interest in. A lot of you have sort of said, no, I like Koopmeiners and like Ederson from Atalanta. And I honestly, and I'll say this because I've said it in a few comments, I honestly would not hate either of those players coming to Spurs. I think Koopmeiners will go to Liverpool because of the Arnie Slot connection. And obviously, you've got other Dutch players at that club. I think we'd go for Ederson, but will Atalanta want to sell both players this summer? I think they're more likely to sell Koopmeiners than they are Ederson. Now, if they sell both, they'll probably make somewhere between 85 and 100 million pounds on those two guys, but I just don't see him selling both of them. Destroying 2/3 of your midfield. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it would happen. Now, that's why I think Onana would be a really interesting player. I've always talked about his physical gifts. That's something you can't teach. You cannot teach physical gifts. You can teach someone to put weight on, and you can teach someone to put muscle on. I am that teacher. I am a guy I know how to do that, but I can't teach someone to grow 6 inches. I can get him stilts. You remember stilts? If you're not English, you might not know stilts, but stilts. I'm walking around with those. It's hard to get around a football pitch, though. At least it's hard to get around with speed. So, you can't teach that. Whereas you can teach the if you wanted to look at Ederson, for example, I don't exactly know how tall Ederson is, but he's probably no more than 6 foot, right? You can't teach Ederson to grow any bigger, but I can teach Ederson to put on 5 to 10 pounds of muscle pretty easily. So I don't mind it. If we were going to go the route, I like Koopmeiners. I think Koopmeiners is obviously, of the three, I think he's best. But I think if we're looking at a 6, I don't think you'd go Koopmeiners. I think you'd go Ederson out of the two of those, because Koopmeiners looks like he plays a bit further forward in sort of that 8 to 10 role, which I would love. He'd be brilliant at Spurs. He really would. I just don't see it. I think a lot of things would have to happen if you were to get a Koopmeiners and Onana, but I don't think you'd get Koopmeiners and Ederson, if you know what I mean. You might get Ederson and Onana, but you're not going to get both Atalanta players. It's just not going to happen. They're not going to sell both to the same clubs. You'd obviously have, like I say, Koopmeiners going to like a Liverpool, and obviously Ederson going to Spurs. You might get that, That is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Drop a like on the video. If you did, hit me in the comment section below your thoughts and feelings about Onana, about Kelly, about Tosin. And I will put this question out because I think we talk about, we like Kelly, we like Tosin. Who's like the guy that you would want out of the two of those? Like both have agreed a contract, both are happy. You just need to sign one of them off. Who would that be? I'm keen to see who you favour in that. Obviously, subscribe to the channel if you're new and hit the bell notification for more. Then, guys, in the video, I'll see you all very, very soon. Take care, guys.